Welcome to Boss Barrel Radio and the year 2021. I am Griffin Hoffman. With me is Jeffrey Brewer.
Hey.
And James Shearer.
Hello.
Guys, how's it going? Welcome to the new era.
We made it.
We made it.
Looks like we made it. I don't know the rest of that song, but I feel like
they really should have played that. Yeah. I wish Garth Brooks had sung that instead of Amazing Grace. Looks like we made it.
Surprisingly, Shannon's my fiance's a teacher. Her kids are middle school age, and they knew who Lady Gaga was, which kind of blew my mind. That surprised me because
they don't know who.
They don't know what like a VCR is. They don't know what like a compact disc is. But they know what a Lady Gaga is.
Well, I mean,
kids these days, am I right?
Pretty big, and did have a movie that came out.
We're now a boomer podcast.
Yeah,
we're 3 men over 30 complaining about kids these days. Also, can we just briefly discuss how J-Lo had a very poignant moment where she sang, it was a "God Bless America," I guess, and then she spoke in Spanish, and then she went, "Let's get loud."
Nice.
To a sea of flags.
I don't know why. She said, "Let's get loud."
Oh, man.
It was very good.
Happy day overall. I was at work and I was rounding, and one of my fellows that I'm working with tried to put it on the computer, and the attending, who likes to hear herself talk, just started talking over it. Like, who does that? Once in a lifetime kind of thing. I don't know. Craziness.
I was going to say, who does that? CNN anchors.
Oh,
political hard to
discourse.
Tell who everybody is with all these masks on.
I heard that they can give you pneumonia. Just giving Griffin a heavy editing job for the beginning of the podcast.
What? I'm not editing shit.
Nice.
You gotta tell me your timestamps if you want me muting anything.
Nope.
I just assume the government will cut out the parts they don't like.
Yeah.
Tim Apple will get in there and start modifying it.
This is podcasting, man. There are no rules.
Just
right.
Two minds, one thought.
Mm-hmm. When you're here.
Also a nice shirt, Jamie. You can see I'm wearing.
Oh, very nice.
The one you got me.
I was going to say, when you're here, your family.
So wait. I genuinely wanted to pick your brains about this. So I've been getting into emulation specifically because for some reason out of nowhere, my soul was just gripped by this need to play Game Boy Advance games. Not any one in particular, just like Game Boy Advance. And I don't know why specifically Game Boy Advance. And I was like, why? What is it about? And then I started playing some Game Boy Advance games on emulators, and it like felt amazing. And I don't know, and I started watching videos on what makes the Game Boy Advance unique graphically and computationally and stuff, because I was like, what the hell is making these games feel so good? It seems like other people agree with me, but I can't put my finger on it. Do you guys know what in sweet baby Jesus' name I'm talking about? Does this resonate with you at all? Or maybe not even about GBA, but just about...
Return to freshman year of high school? Is that where it's kind of coming from?
It reminds me of when I had one of my classmates purchase me the Knight of Lotus Tactics Ogre because I was grounded and I couldn't buy video games. I feel
you had to have somebody front you a video game?
Yeah, I did.
Oh,
I met in the parking lot.
That's beautiful.
I was going to say, I feel like something that stands out to me about the GBA is just the palettes that they used.
Yeah, that's what people talk about.
I don't know if that's a GBA color thing or if that's just a thing that developers were doing at the time, but I have very fond memories of that.
The colors definitely pop. I feel like it's basically NES because there's a lot of mode. There are literally modes. They refer to them as mode. I don't know if it's mode 7, but there are various modes. They can do rotate and deform and stuff. But the colors are great. But there's something about the feel of the game, and I don't know even through an emulator. And just to convince myself of this, I played some other stuff, and I have an NES and I played it on a CRT. just to be like, what? Maybe it's like the input. I don't know, but no, it's like some weird thing, and I think it's being translated through the emulator. I don't know. Am I going crazy?
I wonder if there's a latency thing, because my feeling, just thinking about GBA platformers, is like they're very direct, and I think that's down to like 2 buttons, right? So just having AB instead of ABXY, right? The DS introduced a 4-button scheme. But also, I just feel like maybe there was really low latency on the units, because when I think of an NES, I think of like mashing an A button and not even being sure you've hit it.
Yeah.
Because it's so squishy and spongy.
Yep.
But when I think of a GBA, I'm just like, you depress that button and your little chunky pixel boy is going to do stuff.
Yeah. Your little weirdly not 3D Tony Hawk's going to spin around.
Yo, Tony Hawk
yikes.
2 and 3 or whatever it was for GBA. I loved that game.
It's
I
great.
should check those out.
It's so good.
You
Anyway,
should play Mother 3, Jamie.
I started it, and it felt amazingly good immediately. And I love how I guess it's still a fan translation, right? It still doesn't exist as an official thing, but I guess they keep the audio. And when you're putting in your name and stuff, there's some weird guy saying like "so does name" or something in the background. It's weird.
Yeah, it's that's the guy who wrote the game, Shigesato Itoi. who's saying that.
Yeah, I think he says "okay, desu ka" every time.
Oh yeah.
you
Oh yeah. Okay.
Confirm.
And that fan
Yakisoba.
translation is by a professional translator, so it's not a bad translation. Let's put it that way.
No, yeah. Immediately,
Tomato
it seems-
version?
Yep, tomato version. Yes,
You've both played it to completion.
No,
Okay.
I've played to completion.
I've just played a little bit of it. We did a video and it didn't go very well.
Do you have heretical views on this, Griff? Are you prepared to say that it's dog poo?
No,
Okay.
I want to play it.
Gotcha.
I think at that point we were attempting to synchronize a Skype video and talk about a game, and the tech just wasn't there yet.
Yeah.
Well, I think it may have been, I was working on my, like, at that time, like, almost 10-year-old MacBook Pro, and it may have caught on fire at that. That may have killed it.
I was going to say, Griffin's internet also was probably not there
Oh,
yet.
for sure.
There were multiple factors involved.
Yeah. We were slogging it, and I was running an emulator on it too. I think screen capturing it and piping it out to Geoff. God, it was a fucking disaster.
Well, now I have Wi-Fi 6 and I got the vaccine, so I'm more internet than man, and I'm ready to stream at any
Is
point.
it
have-
5G
you got the 5G?
right now?
I got the 5Gs right here.
And you got the full console experience, right?
I got the full console experience. I'm basically a very, very spoiled, privileged white person. So nothing
And that's who
there.
America wants to hear
Yeah.
from in these troubling times.
Exactly. I'm just filling up all over the place. It's great.
I am still console-less, despite having taken the step into the water of trying.
Are you okay? Okay.
Griffin is now receiving notifications from Mario 64, which is
Personally,
it's a dark fate. It's a Terminator dark fate.
it's
But it's-
situation.
brutal, man.
That's the only way I got anything recently. My
It's
graphics
a
card.
Terminator Dark Fate mostly because he has links to deals on Terminator Dark Fate on Blu-ray every other day.
I own Terminator Dark Fate on 4 clays.
What?
4 clays? There's 4 clays.
4 clay tablets?
4 clays.
Wait, hold on. You own
You have
Terminator
the
Dark
Mesopotamian
Fate?
version?
Yes. Wait, is that the new one? What's the new one?
That's the one that has Linda Whatser in it. Yeah, it's the new one.
It's good. I own it. I watched
Is it good?
I watched
Okay.
it with my father. We watched 1, 2, and 3. Canonically, that's the way they like jettisoned everything in between that 2 and Dark Fate. And actually, if
Yes.
you watch them in order, it's good. I like it. It's a good movie. It's stupid. You know what's really stupid is the first one. That one's really stupid. There is a love story in there, and I don't know how anyone thought that was okay. Or
Especially because she's like 16.
yeah, exactly. He's like, I'm from the future, and I have a sick mullet. Anyway,
Well, speaking of watching bad movies, we've been watching the Star Wars again.
nice.
Primarily because I've been listening. I don't know. Jen's just along for the ride, I think. But I've been listening to the. Oh God, I'd have to look up the name. It's the folks from Waypoint, headed by Austin Walker and oh gosh, I'm forgetting on his name. Maybe Jamie will remember it when he gets back. But yeah, they do a podcast called A More Civilized Age, in which they're recapping the prequels. So I was like, I like Star Wars, and
Not Gita.
No. It's
Big guy?
Natalie
Big
Watson, who's not there anymore. Ali
Scoops?
Akampora from Friends at the Table, and I forget the guy who does the F1 racing and the strategy thing, who I love, but I haven't said his name out loud in a long time.
X-Giant Bomb guy?
No. Well, that's
not Patrick.
Austin's there.
Patrick Klepek is still there, right?
I don't follow Waypoint anymore.
No.
But what do you think of these? You've been watching them. Is your interest renewed? Why? Is it Mandalorian inspired?
Quick question.
No.
Do you hate sand? Of course. And it gets everywhere.
It does, yep. I haven't gotten back to the prequels yet. I think that what always happens is I start watching the 4, 5, 6, and then I do 1, 2, and then I usually stop after 2, and I'm like, ugh, I can't. I'm so exhausted.
You don't do machete over?
No, I do not, because that would be an immediate end to that.
Wait, I think don't you get to watch like 4, 5, and then you go back and do the prequels afterwards?
That's what I do.
Return of the Jedi?
Yeah, that's what I do.
Okay.
But it was interesting watching 4 again, and just how it's like, this is an interesting film franchise that has every fucking... somebody could point at some random ass prop and it has a backstory canonically now, and it struck me as like, fuck, man, they really milked they squeezed all the blood out of that stone of Star Wars.
Yep.
4 is kind of... I think 4 is a little rough, too. If I could be heretical for a moment.
No, I agree.
There's some moments.
I think
they're just like, all right.
I think people say that. I mean, everyone obviously says that 5 is like the best one. I do enjoy how 4 just becomes like a dogfight movie in the last 10 minutes for no reason. I think that's pretty sweet.
I really like how they have a really lame fight in the end, and then one guy disappears. Oh no, I'm just a robe now.
So those metachlorians and that blue milk does crazy shit to your body.
I think they need to edit them again and just have George Lucas come on and be like, yeah, it's the midichlorians.
I think
Go ahead.
I think they need to edit it again, and when he dies, have him just explode into blue milk.
Oh, God.
And everyone's
Or
covered
just
in it. They're like, delicious.
Or just bring the horrible musical act from Return of the Jedi of the lady with the giant lips and just have her in every movie.
Fuck. I wish you could flip a switch and cycle between those things.
Depending on how drunk you were.
You're right.
Oh, man.
I think I did take a bathroom break at that point with Max Rebo and his band.
Someone told me they were called, like, they had a name like the Jizz something or another's.
That sounds familiar. Good luck Googling that.
I'll find it. Don't worry about it.
Okay. I'm not worried.
That's what safe mode is for.
So you guys want to talk about some video games? Jamie, I wanted to go back to your emulating spree. What specific games have you been playing and enjoying from Game Boy?
So I've been a bit of a tourist. I tried Metroid Fusion, Metroid Zero. Is it Zero Mission? Zero Mission. I always want to say Zero Suit, but that's not it.
Metroid Zero Emissions.
I have tried 3 Castlevania games that all feel great.
Nice. Which ones?
There's the
Circle of the Moon.
There's a moon.
Aria of Sorrow.
There's an
and
Aria.
Harmony of Dissonance.
Yeah.
Harmony
and
of
then there's another
Dissonance.
thing. And
Or something like that.
Like Geoff was saying, I don't know if it's just the simplicity of the 2-button system plus the responsiveness, but just instantly fun.
Yeah.
In like a very rewarding old school way. Did try Mother 3. I do love those Tony Hawk games. That was when I actually got my Game Boy Advance back in the day. That Tony Hawk game was the only game I had for it for a long time. I actually love those games. I think there's something to them. They are very simple, but even after playing 1 and 2 remake, I love playing Tony Hawk on that thing. And what else? I think
That makes me really interested. I'll go check that out.
Very simple. Don't expect
I've never
much
played
from
it before.
It literally you're gonna just be twirling in the air, and if that's fun for you, then you're gonna have a good time. But yeah,
Jamie, can I make a somewhat obscure recommendation?
Yes.
Of a fun platformer. Have you heard of Drill Dozer?
No.
It's a Game Freak game. It came with some kind of unique peripheral. I think it was a rumble.
I think it did have a rumble. Yeah, it was a fat pack.
Which you won't be able to get, but it's a great game. Really fun. Great little platformer centered around a drill.
Nice. And one thing I want to play.
Lodging yourself into rocks.
I do love that Tactics Ogre game.
Is pretty good.
I beat that back in the day, so I might dip my toe back into that. Oh, and Golden Sun.
Golden Sun. I was going to say, yeah. Check that one out.
Yeah.
Have you played the Sun series before, Jamie?
I briefly owned Golden Sun on the GBA. I don't know. Maybe it was around the era where I was playing what I considered to be like edgier RPGs, and I was like, what is this? But I played it a little bit, and I was just instantly taken by everything about it. It seemed great.
It's really good.
I don't know.
The music is incredible.
Yeah. Good sound chip on that little guy. You can get weird voices in there. The voices don't sound great, but it's okay.
I was say not as good as the Super Nintendo sound chip, which was like insanely good and can literally play like 16-bit music. It's super good. If you really want to like dig in, then Golden Sun and The Lost Age are both fantastic games.
I want to dig in.
I really like them quite a bit. I think they hold up.
Is the second one the second one, isn't that for DS, or is that incorrect?
You're thinking of Dark Dawn, which was the third one.
Okay. Oh, shit! I didn't know there was 3.
Yeah, I never beat that one, and it kind of like it led to the series being canned because it wasn't as good.
Gotcha.
I think it was okay.
How about some Advance Wars, Jamie? I'd recommend get into that.
Hell yeah, I had that back in the day too. I'll definitely play that. One of the fascinating things when I fall into various YouTube rabbit holes about all this stuff is about how it seems to be a universal trope with all Nintendo handhelds. If you look at like the history of the handheld and the history of its development, they're always like weird back and forth battles between like the tech guys wanting it to be good and the business people being like, no. It could just be a calculator. It's going to be fine. And like where they end up, which is usually like somewhere odd in between, which does lead to like maybe the sound being much better than I feel like those decisions are so weird and wonky. And when you think about how they're just made by committee, it kind of makes sense. So I just find that fascinating, and it almost enriches the experience to like watch that crap and then play some of it on the emulator. It's just a fun thing. And I'm surprised. I'm glad that this is all readily available, and it seems to be in a state where it's extremely easy to do. I am an actual idiot. And I used to try to get PlayStation emulators working, and for the life of me, I couldn't. Now it's fairly easy. So I'm happy that it's in the state that it's in.
Cool. Is there any other platforms? I guess you just said PlayStation, but
I played a little Chrono Cross. That's awesome. That seems to be.
You can play Chrono Cross on the DS Lite.
No. I'm playing it on my M1 MacBook.
It's like, that's not possible.
Oh, man.
And you know what you should play, Jamie?
What?
Xenogears. It's only 80 hours.
Well, I'm playing Xenogears too. Do you want to talk about that?
We will talk about that soon.
So question for you guys about emulators does this thing have like functionality to speed things up, and are there like files that exist out there that you would download that then would modify the game in an atypical way that would then make like some more user-friendly benefits to it?
Kind of all like these stuff have some of that stuff built right into the front end. RetroArch does, the thing I'm using on the Mac does, which is just designed for the Mac. You can very easily map fast forward and rewind to the controller and all sorts of options, basically anything you can imagine. And it's really the one reason why I'm not so interested in the FPGA Mister scene, because as far as I understand, that's like, no, this is like cycle accurate and we worship these things. And it's like, these games are really hard. I don't want to, like Darkwing Duck is freaking hard. I don't want to like play that without a rewind function. So that's where I'm at.
And save states are nice too. I'm assuming that's free or comes out of the box too.
Yeah.
But don't the analog systems, which are like Mr. or not Mr. necessarily, but FPGA based, don't they support save states, or do they not?
I was
Actually, I don't
reading
even
that
remember.
certain cores do, but not all of them. So I believe on Mister the GBA core does save states, but I don't know if other ones do. And that
Yeah.
doesn't seem as user friendly.
It's profoundly user unfriendly. That's what I've come to understand. Like, you just get it, and it's just like, good luck.
Even
Do you
when
like
you
Linux, kids?
even when you fully build it, this is the thing that blows my mind and tells me this is not for me. Even when you fully build a Mister, even if you get one of those special cases, there's no on button. You just unplug it. And then you plug it.
A lot of single board and small PCs, like that's Raspberry Pi. You just
I
plug it in and
guess
it's on.
you're right, but still, to me, that just seems so odd.
It is weird.
Yeah. I guess.
Are you
you're right.
do you have plans to go down any like uncharted territories for yourself? Like, for example, if I were to do this, I would look at a Neo Geo because I will never buy a Neo Geo machine.
The only thing I really want, because I'm gonna be commuting again in a couple months, is I want that analog pocket for the train. That's really all that I want. I don't see myself blowing any extra money in it, on this stuff. You can spend so, like, it's all deceptive, right? The main board for the Mister is like $100 some odd bucks, but then if you get this and then it's $600, and it's like I don't want that to sneak up on me. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah.
I've personally like always, and I don't know how much I need it these days, but I've personally like sought portable emulation in some form or another for quite some time, and I think that the like Chinese clone portable emulators have gotten to a point where like they are putting out their own products now, and there are some legitimately good products at this point. Like, I think they're approaching Dreamcast levels in small portable devices, which is very impressive. Like, I don't care about emulating Dreamcast on the go, but like, if I could have rock solid, like, zero hitches SNES performance and like maybe PS1, then I'm happy with that on the go. But it's frustrating because like even like on the Vita, right, which has some options, like I'd love to just, I mean, I will be able to, right, because it's coming out next year as a remaster, but I'd love to be able to buy like Saga Frontier on the PlayStation Classic store, and like you can't, right? Like you can't get it at all. And all your PlayStation Classics, you can only play them on PS3 and Vita.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so frustrating how difficult it is to preserve your library as this hardware moves forward.
And it's frustrating how
Keep all your shit.
yeah, really.
Yeah, it
You'd be like
unlimited
me.
space.
In some ways, Sony is still playing this game where they're still like, the Vita emulation scene, advances a little bit, gets to the point where you don't need to wipe your Vita to have all of this stuff on it with your, actual stuff that you actually purchased. And then they upgrade the firmware again, and that gets screwed up, and they're still playing this game. Like, someone at Sony, their job is to play this little arms race game, and it just blows my mind that they think this is worth it. Like, they don't sell Vitas anymore. I really don't understand the business reason for that.
What frustrates me is like, playing, and this is kind of maybe segueing, and maybe this is worth getting into. So I did get a PS5. Griffin was saying that he's been struggling to get one. And in the post-holiday refractory period, let's call it, I was just like, oh, I'm going to start tracking the PS5 and see if I can find one. And I did. I just like through a series of fortunate events, I like ended up having a PS5 sitting in my cart in Best Buy, and it went live again, and then I was able to check out by like madly refreshing and hitting the checkout button.
Oh my God. I didn't realize it was that serendipitous for you. So from a previous thing, you had it in your cart, and then it came live again, and then you got that one from the... Oh my God.
Yes.
That's
so
nuts.
I had it in my cart. I had a location selected, and I couldn't check out. And I left all of that in stasis, and then when it went live again, I only went to check out and just kept trying to check out over and over again until I could get it.
Wow.
When I got it, the guy was like, good job, bro. I was like, all right.
Elite strats.
He was like, I don't know. He was like, I don't know if this is for you, but you did a good job. I was like, I don't feel like I did a good job. But, sure.
I got one in my cart. I got in there for Best Buy, and then I played the Russian roulette of, keep clicking on shit until it says the location has it and available. So all the there's like 4 or 5 Best Buys that I could go to within a half-hour distance of my place. And they just kept timing out, and then I was like, well, fuck this. Let's just see like some of these other locations that are a little bit more out of my area, and I could
little
have
more
gotten, I
northern
could
Iowa,
have
if you will.
pushed through to one that's like Cedar Falls or Cedar Rapids. I fucking don't know, but it been about a 2-hour drive there to get it, and then a 2-hour drive back, of course. So I was like, this is not worth it.
Man.
Yeah.
I did see a guy leaving my local Best Buy with one a couple days
Really?
ago. They seem to be, probably a small amount seem to be out there. But,
Yeah.
I mean, I what are your initial impressions, Geoff?
My initial impressions are actually really positive. So it's a hulking, rootin' tootin' big boy.
Diskless
which is
or disc full?
diskless.
Okay.
I will say that I don't. And maybe 13 Sentinels is just a really fast loading game, but playing that on PS5 and first of all, just resuming it is really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Turning the console on and off is super nice. Loading the game is surprisingly fast. I did
Yes.
not expect that level of improvement. I also this is a total rabbit hole I'm going down. But did you watch that Last of Us or the Last Guardian video on Digital Foundry?
Yes, I did.
Jamie?
Yes, I did.
How stupid is that?
Yes. So Griffin, just so you know, with The Last Guardian on PS5, if you don't if you have the disc version and you don't patch it, you get 60 frames per second.
Okay.
If you let it patch, you're back to 30 frames per
25
second.
frames per second. And it's literally included in like the PlayStation Plus collection, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
But my initial impressions are quite positive. I think the UI could use a little tuning. I think it's an impressive piece of hardware. I think it's going to be great. I think that Astrobot is like, it's all I need from next gen right now, to be quite honest. I have that, and I have Demon Souls, which I struggled to launch for reasons unknown.
Really?
And I played a little Demon. Yeah, I was, I think, texting you guys about it when it was happening. But there's some kind of problem with the game that sometimes it fails to launch. It's really frustrating. But I got through that, and I played a little bit, but I was just like, I don't know if I want to deal with like this kind of gameplay right now. It's a little too high stress for me. But I've been playing Astrobot, and that game is fantastic. Super charming, super meta and cute. Like, it's like ostensibly designed to sort of show off the features of the system, and so the levels in the game are like SSD Speedway and like CPU Garden. And I think I was telling both of you guys that in the SSD Speedway, all the songs in that game are really good, and it partway through the level, there's just a chorus that just goes SSD, and it's really
I have
good.
heard that song now. Yeah, it's very good.
But what I was going to focus on is that this game is like such a wonderful, loving homage to everything that was in Sony, and for a company, I think that's been going through so much of sort of an identity shift in the past, let's say 5 years, right? Like it's moved out of Japan in a pretty big way. Like as I think we all know, like it's selling horribly over there, the PS5, which the PS4 was out the gate as well. But this is like the worst console launch ever for Sony in Japan. But they're not a Japanese company like when it comes to game development anymore. They're more of a Western company.
Yeah.
So their identity has shifted in a huge way, but this game is full of homages and like really loving deep cut homages like Silent Hill 2, which, maybe that's not the deepest cut, but like that's a game that, a PS2 game had cult status, helped establish the system as like artistic and weird. And it's weird to have like those homages that are kind of like clearly from people who love video games and love the history of Sony, alongside someone like Jim Ryan, who's like, why would you want to play a PS1 game? Like those, I can't square those two things, and it's a weird place. And I think when I was when you were talking about emulation, Jamie, and we were kind of talking about how hard it is to kind of get the games you want and like have access to classics, I just like I can't put those two things together, because the PS5, yes, it plays all your PS4 games and that's awesome, but like there's no indication that we're gonna be looking back at all on this console. It's kind of a bummer to me.
It is, but I agree with you so like 100% with Astrobot Playroom, and I think it's so wonderful that they chose that setting, like a setting that celebrates the past, to show you everything new about the system, and it really sells it, and you get both. You get both flavors, and it really seems like revelatory. And, you know, I get sucked into the time trials because you just want an excuse to get back into that world.
Yeah.
I bet you can't beat, well, I bet you can beat my time. So don't try to beat my times because then this will just start a horrible.
You're going to win.
But yeah, I love.
Yeah, no, it does a really good job of demoing the cool controller too, which Jamie has spoken about already. But like the resistive triggers, they have a bunch of different rockets and gadgets that are controlled by them, and they're all super cool.
Yeah, and I
also,
just love.
You blow into the microphone like a DS, and you feel like an idiot.
I said this last time, but I love how the PS4 game Astrobot became the design aesthetic of every choice that they're making around the PS5, and it's reflected everywhere. The system looks like Astrobot, the controller looks like Astrobot, the headset looks like Astrobot. Everything feels the same. It's just it's a rewarding, you know, I was trying to decide where I want to play Hitman 3, and I watched a Digital Foundry video saying, oh, on the Series X it's a little better, but I still bought it on the PlayStation because I was like, I just want to be in there. I just want to be enjoying it more. So yeah,
Why
I'm
you
with
no
you.
PC? Why you no PC?
I don't know. I'm just enjoying like plopping down, you know, and just like sitting there and being lazy on a couch. That's what I've been enjoying. I've been in that mode. But
I will say it is nice to. I find the perfect way for me to play PS5 right now is to like curl up on the couch, throw on my old PS4 headset, which still works just fine, and just like cozy up and put like a heated blanket on and play some games. Like it is very nice. And I'm not a person who plays a lot of seated console games. Like I have a hard time with that, but it's been nice to have that kind of in this particular moment, I feel like. So
yeah, and the remote play is just remarkable. I played 13 Sentinels at work, which I shouldn't be doing, but whatever, fuck it. And I play it on my iPhone with the Razer iPhone thing, and it's like seamless. It's absolutely seamless. There's a minimal amount of lag. There's a minimal amount of blockiness every, you know, once in a while. But I'm snobby when it comes to this stuff, and it's just wonderful. It works so well. I can't believe it.
It's good for a game like 13 Sentinels, I think, because, and we should probably talk about that game. Essentially, I mean, it's a visual novel, right? So it's kind of the perfect case for remote play, honestly.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, there is a strategy layer in there, but it is the faintest whiff of gameplay.
Yeah. Griff, do you like Xenogears?
Never heard of it.
Well, it's this cool game from the 90s. It's from Japan.
Wait.
Well,
do you like big robots piloted by teenagers?
Okay.
Removing their clothes.
All right.
Also, they have mental problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
Final
You
Fantasy
sure do.
7. Final Fantasy 7. One person doesn't have their memories. This game, like 13 people or more, no memories.
Well, it must be good. No, I purchased it and I started playing it. And I was just telling Geoff before you joined, Jamie, that I am going to pull my Vita out and charge it, presumably, and see how
Make sure
that
the battery
remote play
isn't
works. Oh yeah, right.
Thing.
Oh no.
Apparently, that's a thing for old Vitas.
Well,
Yeah.
knock on wood.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a shot through that system because I just want to play it on handheld. And that
I
buttery,
agree.
beautiful screen.
Yeah, it's such a perfect. I'm sad it hasn't come. I mean, this is like the thing that makes me sad that the Vita and Sony handhelds are no more because it's so well suited to handheld play.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cozy to play on the TV, but I wish I could take it everywhere because it's a meaty boy.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I do think, and I have seen from playing it on my iPhone, that in the battles, even when it's being streamed in really crisply, I think you lose a little bit of that. You use a little bit of that communication because it just gets really busy, and it doesn't really matter. The battles are intensely easy, but I still love the battles. Like I love them. I love them in the way that you love a Dragon Quest, like Dragon Quest combat. Like you know exactly what you're gonna do, and it's gonna be easy. Maybe there's a spike every now and then, but like for the most part, it's a warm bath, and like that's what I'm enjoying about it. It's an excuse to upgrade your mechs, and it's an excuse to see what these cool like moves do. But you know, at the end of the day, you're just gonna own the bad guys. But I actually love that, and I love the design aesthetic in the battle system. both your units and the enemy units are not fully animated at all. If you scroll over a unit, you will get like a portrait that is
tiny portrait. Yeah.
Yeah, very painterly vision of what this mech might look like. But otherwise, it almost looks like
it's heavily abstracted.
It's highly abstracted. It looks like Space Invaders. There's a story reason for that, and I think, but I actually love that aesthetic. They do cool things with it. They do like stack multiple like Space Invader dudes on top of each other to make a vaguely 3D looking kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's just an explosion of, it's like a Housemarque style explosion of numbers and voxels and pixels. And I just absolutely love it. What do you think about the combat? What do you guys think about that? Griff, have you gotten there?
I did the first one.
Okay.
So I can weigh in. Well, unless you'd like to weigh in, Griff. Okay.
No, go ahead.
So once you get through the tutorial, Griff, which is pretty long, essentially the way the battles work is they're all timed. So it's like, hey, defend the center for 2 minutes or kill everything, and you will never use those entire 2 minutes. Like I don't even think I've used 1 minute before.
Yep.
But it's pseudo real time, right? So you can pause the action pretty much at any time, and like issue commands, and some stuff is instantaneous. A couple of things have a little bit of charge up, but most stuff is like immediate. And there's various interrupts you can do. Like there's a bonus, like an EX meter that you can charge up a couple times per battle and unleash specials. I think it's pretty cool. I like it. I actually do like it a lot. I think there's a bit of strategy. I'm playing it on the highest difficulty available, which still isn't that hard. I think the thing that frustrates me about it is that I wish it didn't gate the story, because I'm so addicted to finding out all the secrets in the story, and then it'll be like, nah, you have to do 5 more battles.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Like,
I've negated that by trying to, like, I'll do one story segment, like, or two, and then a battle. 1 or 2, and then a battle. And it seems to be keeping
Got
me
each vegetables.
Yeah.
There's a lot of food. It's Vanillaware.
Yeah, that's good to hear.
They do love their food at Vanillaware.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know what our viewers and listeners' experiences of Vanillaware is, but they're known for games like Dragon's Crown.
Which I've never played. Is that
Griff and I
sin?
played some Dragon's Crown for a while. That was you, right, Griff?
What's that? Sorry,
Dragon's Crown?
Yes, I played it.
Yeah.
I think we play it together? Maybe.
I think so.
Yeah, I played a lot of it.
I was the archer girl, the elf.
That was a co-op game? It seems like just a side-scroller.
It was a side-scrolling dungeon crawler type game, action dungeon crawler.
Yep.
It was
Some
fun.
town sim stuff.
Yeah, leveling up. It was decent. I mean, it wasn't like the thing. So Vanillaware is kind of known for, I would say, games that are artistically peerless when it comes to like 2D,
Grandiose, yeah.
Yeah, like 2D expression, like kind of expressionistic, beautiful art.
And knockers.
And big old knockers. The knockers are in this game, and people refer to them as knockers. So get excited.
Well, only one character has them, and everyone's like, did you see him over there?
Yeah. But there's one character who is a fully grown adult woman, so of course her knockers are out of control.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
The teenagers, their knockers are more within the realm of reason. Don't worry, you will almost see them several times.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Oh, man. But I don't know how far you are in the story, Geoff, but I have been
Pretty
very, and I was, okay, so it's 13 stories that dovetail and branch and separate and come back, and there's 5 different time zones, and there's other stuff going on. So right off the bat,
it's also
a Japanese
like
game,
not in linear order at all.
Not in linear order. Right off the bat,
Setting
with all
the time
that
travel
stuff,
aside.
I was
Jamie,
like,
did you finish it?
I am more or less, so I have multiple characters 100%ed on the story, and I'm very close to finishing the
battles.
The battles. I'm pretty sure that the game has shown me all of its major reveals, story-wise.
Have you played Goto's story, Jamie?
Yeah.
Renya Goto? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Wait, no, I haven't.
You haven't seen it all, baby.
Are you kidding me? What else could they do? What are they thinking? These people are nuts. Anyway, up until now, I have been very impressed that I started playing it in Japanese, and all of these characters have fucking 10-syllable long names. And then they have nicknames, some of them. And so I changed it from Japanese to English, just thinking like, I cannot. the fact that I know what these 13 characters' names are, I know what their storylines are, even out of order, and it makes sense, is just
Very
something
impressive.
I did not expect at all.
When I saw that we were going to get 13 whole stories, at first I was like, okay, there's going to be like 5 stories, and then, there'll be 13 characters, so they don't matter. When I saw that we were getting every single one of these people, I was like, this is going to collapse under the weight of its own ambition. It strangely does not.
Yeah, I don't know how they're doing it. And I think the fact that they give you the mystery files section where you can go through and remind yourself, and not only does it help you remember what's going on, but it also lets you know that they're actually thinking about this stuff, and they're not just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. They've clearly thought a lot about, every single thing they're putting in the story. And even though it is a huge, generous story, there is an economy of storytelling even within that is kind of shocking, and just really kind of I hope it doesn't fall apart at the end, but even if it does,
I don't think it does.
Up until this point, like the storylines that I've seen have just been so cool. It's
amazing how much they managed to hold back. I think it's a game that you will play the game and you'll kind of pitter about in different people's stories and be like, oh, like, this is interesting, I'm gonna check this person out, and then you'll learn this like earth-shattering thing, and you'll be like, oh man, I wish I didn't know that because it's so earth-shattering and it changes everything. But then the game's like, nah, you don't really know that much yet, it's okay.
One thing that I really love is that there are so many moments where you're thinking, that plot point doesn't make any sense, I don't understand that character's motivation in this moment at all. And as someone who enjoys anime and video games, you're just taught to kind of think, okay, well, I'll just leave that. That's okay. So maybe there's a few loose ends. But then they'll come back and they'll fully explain it. And I'm just like, well, I did not expect that. I would have been fine but with the way you guys left it. But sure, if you want to actually like flesh this out, that's fine with me. That's cool.
I was surprised, but towards the end of characters' stories, they allow for some cross-pollination of scenes. So you'll see them from the same scene from 2 different perspectives. With maybe a conversation that you see on one side but not the other, and it does a very good job. I think they do a good job of kind of backloading explanation to make sure you're up to speed.
Yeah, and I think
like,
also
everything is revealed, but they summarize. Go ahead, sorry, Jamie.
No. I was playing Takatoshi's end of his story today, and I'm not going to say anything spoilery, but I think that there are some themes in this story that they address that I did not think they would address. And some types of stories that they tell that I do not think that they would have the guts to tell. Yep. And I think they do it with nuance and with a good amount of introspection. And I think...
Are you thinking about... Because I haven't finished Takatoshi, Jamie, but are you thinking about sexuality?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think that they speaking of Dragon Quest, what's his name in Dragon Quest?
Sylvando.
He's like a wonderful character. He is a caricature, but I still think within his story, especially in the S variant of the game, they tell a fairly mature. They tell of his life in a way that I think makes sense and does the character justice. And this goes even beyond. I feel like this is going beyond that. This is taking the next step because you don't see Sylvando's love life, but this is going like another step, and I honestly didn't expect it to do that. And I'm pleased that it is, and I'm surprised that the game seems this universally beloved, given that it's treading those waters and given what the internet is. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's still. I mean, I think it still falls into some traps. Of like anime and stereotyping and like what I like a man. What? That's wrong. I feel like they like at one point in the story, because there are just different elements to there are a lot of different moving parts. Some moving parts of the story are like, yeah, we're cool with like relationships and human beings. Other parts are like, teenagers are incapable of talking about feelings ever, and they're just gonna blush all the time, and it's stupid, and they just want to see each other naked, and you're like, this is weird.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel good.
I'm curious to keep playing because, and if you're avoiding spoilers for my sake, don't worry about it. I know the end of the final reveal.
We don't know the end yet. We don't know the final reveal
So
yet.
yeah, it's funny. And then I've also had other plot points I've heard people speak to them. What I'm curious about, though, is everything that you guys are saying, where these characters do feel fleshed out and their interactions seem genuine and above and beyond your shonen anime kind of structure. So I still, even though I have probably the big reveal already in mind, I still want to play it to have view those interactions, view those characters, just for that sake.
I think without getting too spoilery, so the game is telling like Xenogears, it's telling a very ambitious, lengthy over time span story, right? And it's got a lot to carry with that, and I think it does some interesting storytelling tricks to add depth to characters that isn't necessarily revealed strictly through moment-to-moment gameplay. So, the characters themselves do have personalities, and they are expressed through their gameplay, and there are, some... It is all basically a visual novel, but there are, unique quirks to different stories. I really enjoyed Ogata's story. Remember him, Jamie?
Yep.
Yeah, he's a fun guy.
Yeah.
But he had an interesting mechanic in his story, which was a little different from the others.
You're talking about the train?
Yeah, the train thing, yeah. And that's cool, right? And they definitely characterize the characters that way, but they do some other cool tricks to add characterization that sort of allow them to step outside of the teenager format a little bit. And I think that it makes the characters deeper in a way that's kind of cheating, but really cool at the same time.
Yeah.
Jamie knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, and they do that in multiple ways because, I even though Griff knows, I don't want to give any spoilers away, but basically they almost cheat a little bit in terms of their storytelling to present the characters in ways that that you couldn't in a story that didn't have time travel and didn't have nanomachines and blah blah blah. And I think it's really cool to see the characters from those kinds of perspectives.
Definitely. Yeah.
Does it does have whiffs of Metal Gear also to me. A
little bit.
Just a whiff, not definitely this is Xenogears 2,
but there's no Mr. President moment.
Yeah.
That of.
The characters, the cool thing is the characters do have the villains have motivations, the heroes have motivations, there are motivations galore, which I like. I appreciate that quite a bit. Yeah. I do think it sometimes doesn't quite stick the landing on every character and every outcome, but I think by and large it nails it.
How does it stack up against VLR in character-forward visual novels with absolute worthless gameplay?
Yeah. I'd say the gameplay is more worthless than VLR because I kind of like the puzzles. Woo! But it's fun. I mean, you're just clicking X a lot, and sometimes you click triangle and you can think about stuff like hamburger.
Yeah. Or Yakisoba pan.
Yakisoba pan angel. Every time this man eats yakisoba pan, he gets down on one knee and goes,
yeah. Impossibly good.
Did you remember the part of the game when you open your thought cloud, which is your inventory sort of, your keyword inventory, and you have yakisoba pan in your inventory 4 times?
Yep.
I really want to take a picture of that.
So both of you obviously playing it actively. Sounds like you're rounding the finish line. Would you say it's one of your favorite games of 2020?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'd say so. 100%.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a game that's just gonna do criminally poorly, in this market, and it's really sad. And a game is amazing when Yoko Taro's Japan needs Vanillaware. This is a good game, this is I think it's got some Nier vibes, a little bit. Not 100%, but it's got some Nier vibes. I think it's got some Nier vibes in that it's telling a pretty tough story. This is not a happy tale.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a lot of... it might have a happy ending. I don't know, but there's a lot of misery along the way.
This is the kind of game... So Geoff and I, we're going to be really sad. And in, let's say 2032, Geoff and I are going to still be going to PAX every year. And in 2032, we're going to be in PAX, and we're going to be in the back. We're going to be looking at something, and we're going to overhear 2 18, 17-year-old kids being like, have you played 13 Sentinels? It's this little known It's crazy. No one's ever played it. It's like it's incredible. You gotta try it.
It's almost as rare as Lady Gaga.
I feel like that's the kind of legacy it's gonna have.
Yeah. It's definitely going to have cult status, and it went down to $30 in like 2 months, which is never a good sign for a product's health. And I'm sure that they had very modest expectations for the U.S., but I think nonetheless, I would be remiss if I didn't push this game because it's just so unique. I mean, it's a really good visual novel. I just don't think we see enough of those, and I think it does things that are unique to the visual novel medium, like storytelling out of time.
Yep.
Very light agency, like that has some effects on sort of how you learn things, and interesting kind of playing with perspective and time and memory, and just there's a lot of cool stuff that I think is exemplified in this game, and it's definitely got some VLR feels, but it's its own thing too. Like there is a chronology here. It's not like you're just necessarily just jumping through alternate timelines or whatever. It's complicated is what I would say, but there is a section you can actually look at which explains the order events are occurring in.
Yeah, but I think everything it's like the menus are just over designed enough, the battle system is just over designed enough, and like the music is wonderful, the art style is wonderful,
music's real good.
It's cohesive in terms of its presentation. I do feel like everything, all of these things in isolation would be cool, and it just adds up to something that's really just unique. And yeah,
super good. I'm glad that it registered on all of our radars, kind of separately, but at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with it. I do. Obviously, you don't need to rank it or anything, but I was just curious. Like, is it in anybody's top 10 or top 5 or top 3 or anything like that?
It's in my. I mean, I would imagine. I mean, it's Hades and probably this right below it.
Wow.
Wow.
I think I like it. I mean, Final Fantasy VII Remake would be either 2. It would be 2, and FF7 Remake would be 3. And I don't know, but yeah. I think it does. I think it accomplishes things that the writers of Final Fantasy VII Remake couldn't imagine accomplishing in their wildest dreams. I feel like, so
that's a well-written game too.
Yeah, it is.
For the most part.
Yeah.
Surprisingly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's definitely in my top 5.
So
it's worth thinking about. So.
Is that okay? So is that just kind of drawn on this? Is Hades in your guys' top short list?
That's my number one.
Number 1. You beat it, what, 30 times, Jamie?
Not quite. I think maybe 25, 20, maybe 30. I actually don't know.
Yeah, I feel like I've had around like 40 or 50 escapes.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I was playing it early access, like in 2018.
Oh, okay.
So some of those... Well, I only started escaping probably in like latter half of 2019, maybe.
So have you, Geoff, played it since it's been full released and...
Oh yeah. I got like the first part of the true ending. I didn't get like the full epilogue or whatever, but I got like the beat Hades 10 times.
Gotcha.
And you did too, right, Jamie?
Oh yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I've beaten Hades at least 25 times.
Okay, yeah. So you've definitely seen it all. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually no. I think there's one thing. There's one thing that I'm still working on, one side story, but for the most part, I think I've seen it all. It's too late. I've seen everything.
That's interesting.
Yeah. What do you think, Griff?
I was just and I'll be short with my piece here because Hades is my top 3. It's my 3rd favorite game of the year. Having not played it since full release, and then also not having escaped fully, it is one of, I think, the best games, like mechanically, design-wise. I think it just is. It's Supergiant at its best. Storytelling is doing, has me hooked. I think I had some spoils for it already, but I don't know. The thing that I'm kind of caught up on is like since I played it and stepped away, I'm like, I'll pick it up and I'm like, oh god, I've forgotten literally everything, and it's kind of like then getting into motion.
It's gotten easier, I think. Like, I think
Okay.
that they've smoothed... Because I remember when I first fought the Chariot Man, Achilles and the or Theseus and the Minotaur, they were, like, impossible. Like, I fought them for, like, 10 minutes, and I, like, barely beat them. And I was like, I'm never doing this again. They've definitely smoothed that out in a big way.
You beat them
Like,
the first time you fought them?
No. I died
Oh, okay.
many times.
Oh, okay. I was about to say.
No. And I don't know if that's just because I have like all the upgrades now and it just makes the game a lot like measurably easier, but I think they've tuned it a bit to make it feel better to play through. Because when you play through that game, it's like always the right amount of friction, I feel like. You're never like hideously underpowered.
And I like how sometimes it encourages you to go in ways that you just don't feel comfortable doing. And then you're going to have, I still was having runs like after beating it 20, 25 times where I would have a weapon that I didn't like with buffed in a way I didn't care for. And then I'd get to Theseus and the Minotaur and they'd stomp me. And I like that. I like how that can still happen. You know, and I know them in and out. I know I know exactly what they're going to do and they can still own me from time to time. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, did
Nice.
either of you guys watch the GDQ speedrun of Hades?
No.
I did. It's super fun, and you learn a lot of cool mechanical stuff. But I think it only increased my appreciation for the game. I think it's my feeling about Hades is like it's probably like in my top 3 at least. I don't know where in that list. I don't know if it's my number 1. I think that it's a really incredible game, and it's like a roguelike that like obviously shares some DNA with like Binding of Isaac, you know, and other games that revitalize roguelites in the modern age, but it kind of does its own thing and it manages to jam like a real story in there, which is pretty cool. And I think my like hot take is that maybe the story isn't that good, but the characters are amazing. The characters are just oozing personality.
Sure.
Oh shit!
I just
forgot
Yeah,
about
go
Spirit
ahead,
Fair. Sorry, go on.
Oh yeah. And I just think it's a game that I think is just so it's polished to a mirror sheen. It's a roguelike that somehow manages to, in my mind, get rid of the horrible peaks and valleys that I think a lot of roguelikes can have. I think it just, like I said, it's always the right amount of friction. Like you always feel like you're not facing a hill you can't climb,
Yeah,
which I think makes it really fun. But
definitely.
it's beautiful.
Yeah.
True to.
Plus, you can snog all the underworld boys.
Yeah.
And girls.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And nobody cares. Nobody's like, you want to enter a relationship? Don't worry about it. It's fine. No one's going to be mad about it. It's like, we get it. This is a video game.
Yeah.
You can bone anyone.
Even a disembodied head with snake hair.
No, you can't bone that
You
one.
can't?
Oh,
Really? Oh
most
my
of
God.
it, yeah.
Oh, that's too bad.
You can pursue.
Yeah.
It's a good resolution, but I wish you could bone.
What others are on the list here? I know we've been going for a bit, so I want to keep things moving.
Spirit Fair is up there for me. I saw that on your list, and that's definitely now it's upsetting my whole situation. Spirit Fair for me might be above FF7 and 13 Sentinels.
Wow.
Ooh, wow.
Not to reduce either of those games' impact or accomplishments, but like I think I told you guys this when I was playing Spirit Fair initially, is that so I'm over here just blubbering my eyes out constantly, and Shannon comes over. I'm in the middle of the game, and she sits down. She's like, "What's this?" And I'm like, "Oh, if you watch this right now, you're gonna cry." And she's like, "I don't know these characters. There's no way." 2 minutes, she's crying her eyes out, and it's fun. It's fun to so that game is just. I love that game so much. I'm this close to beating it. I need to just finish it up.
So is it just like I mean, like what I mean, obviously it's about saying goodbye, right? So that's very poignant. I mean, is it just like it's got the best feels? Is that why you think it's so good? Because I haven't played it at all. I just know that you can hug people and it's cute and it looks like it's going to make me sad.
I'm curious to hear what Griff has to say about it, because clearly it connected with him too, and
Yeah, it's been a complicated year for me because for games, I haven't finished a lot. When historically,
So you can't rank any of them.
I can't rank any of them, which is why I have stated that I think I've told Geoff that I have a top 8, I think. And at that point, really, it's a top... my Game of the Year list would be 3 games, and that's it. everything else by my own rules would not live on this, because I was like, I didn't finish Hades, but I didn't see an ending in Hades, but it is up there.
Good thing we don't follow Griffin's rules.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why my favorite game is Cyberpunk.
No, okay, but the game does need to be playable, right? Again, I don't think I really have
I love
good...
a game where your dick comes out of your pants when you're in the menu.
Happens in Spiritfarer too, oddly enough. Very
What's that?
surprising. In Spiritfarer, you have a giant penis.
Oh, your dick comes out of your pants?
Yeah.
You got that slider. I don't think I really have too much to say about it, other than like the energy that it has really drew me in. Just the kind of cool vibes, the aesthetics, the low intensity gameplay of it. Just kind of is what I needed at the time when I was playing it. I do want to go back and expose myself to a lot more. Especially since video games have stopped at this point. I'll have plenty of time to work on that. But yeah.
What are you talking about? Bowser's Fury is dropping in here 20 days.
More like Bowser's
boy.
Fury.
Bowser's Fury, yeah.
Nice.
No, it's more like Mario's Fury. Have you seen that Super Saiyan?
Oh,
Yeah,
those
some texture
amiibos
work on
look...
him.
Yeah, those new amiibo look really... how about it?
But how much have you played, Griff, would you say? Have you made
Say
any
what?
substantive upgrades to your ship? Have you gotten into any of the outer zones that you're blocked off from?
Haven't gotten to any too much. I got some ship upgrades, got some folks joining me, but I haven't put in more than maybe, I don't know, can't be more than 2 hours.
How many people have you taken to the gate?
None.
Oh,
Let me tell you guys, I have played so few video games this year, and the ones that I have completed, mostly I don't like.
oh man. So
It's because of the ending, right?
I'll say for this game, first of all, it's fun. Like, it's fun to move around. There's a fun management sim going on that's just complicated enough and still very forgiving. And the other thing is, and not to get too heavy, but this is why I love the game, so I'm sorry if this is a little too heavy, but like, I am in a job where I see a lot of people die all the time, especially in my intern year. It was like every single day. And I hate how death is portrayed in fiction. And I feel like most of the time in real life, in fiction, everyone dies like, man, I've lived and I'm good. It's like the android at the end of Blade Runner. I've seen things like, I feel like that's like the default
I've
how
seen
writers
things that'll shock your eyelids by
yeah. But I feel like most of the time people go out, they're more like we were talking about this, me and my intern buddies. People most of the time go out like Bernie. They go out like, ah. Like, I feel like that's how a lot of people go out, and that's beautiful too. And I feel like Spiritfarer, it brings something to it that's real. And when you take people to the gate and they say the things they say, these are things that I've heard people say, and it connects, and it's beautiful, and it's, I don't know, you guys should really at least take a couple people to the gate just to get that feeling. But do it when you're in a good place.
or else I'll just be a blubbering mess.
Yeah, but it is. Yeah. Aside from that, it's just a fun game too. Just a good game.
Yeah, I should really play it. I think I just didn't want to go dark when it was out, and I was just like, I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Not dark, but just I didn't want to go to a sad place.
Yeah.
Understandable.
And Crosscode made it on there for you, Griff, too?
Yeah, again, my list is fucking weird because I don't technically not a 2020 game. Already came out in prior years.
Switch.
Yeah, it was on Switch, but wasn't it PC in 2019 or even 18?
PC's not a real platform.
Right. I also didn't finish it. I think I'm like 2 temples in, and I'm like, man, these puzzles are fucking hard. I put in a good chunk of time, but then I think that's when some other games started to trickle through and kind of stole my time away from Crosscode, which everything about it I do greatly enjoy. The combat is challenging, the puzzles are challenging, the characters are interesting. There's a lot of enjoyable humor. There seems to be a really fascinating mystery that gets brought up really quickly at the outset and then almost immediately dropped as you're like, I'm just playing this MMO and it's great.
I hate that
By
part
myself.
about
A
it.
little higher than you're supposed to be.
Oh man, I'm so glad you said that, Griff, because I adore this game. I'm about halfway through, which is like a lot of hours, and I am very saddened at how little I've learned about what's actually going on. I mean, it's great. It's an incredibly fun game, but I'm with you, man.
What temple have you? What was the last one, if you recall?
I've beaten 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I think. How many have you gotten
So you
through?
got, I've done fire and ice, I think.
Yeah, so I think we're probably the same area.
Mm-hmm.
I got to a guy in the starting area who was really strong, and then I tried to kill him, but I couldn't. That's the end of that story.
Yeah. Okay, so you pretty much got the whole gist of it.
Yeah. This is the part where I team up with friends, right? And we do a raid party.
Yeah, exactly.
Different game.
Monster Train would probably be on Jeff's list, right? I'm guessing.
What would?
Monster Train?
Monster Train.
Monster Train, yes. Have you guys both tried Monster Train now?
You bought it
I
for
have.
me, but no.
Not for you?
No, you didn't. You get it for me? Or someone got it for me.
I did, yeah. I did get it for you, yes.
And I feel bad.
Jeff, I do have a funny story about that. So, I was playing Monster Train, and then I got a Steam notification that said, "Hey Jeff, just bought you Monster Train.
Oh no!
It's free on Xbox Live."
Oh no!
So I was like, whatever. Add it to the library. But it couldn't have been funnier because I was like, oh my god. But yeah, I played it. I did a couple levels, so I haven't even lost or completed anything again. But I still just feel so fucking nervous about. Like, I think deck-based card games like that are the kinds of game that gives me palpable anxiety. Like
What's going on there? Tell me about that.
I'm just so it's like, how am I supposed to know everything in my deck? How am I supposed to know that?
Can I give you a secret? There's literally 25 levels of difficulty beyond what you played, so don't worry about it. Like, you can just play that level and not know what you're doing and coast through.
Okay. I just feel like when I play games like that, I know I don't have the brain for that type of a game, so I play it and I'm like, wow, am I doing well, or is this just dumb luck?
Griffin, have you ever purchased a Magic the Gathering booster pack? Opened the pack,
No.
looked at the cards as you pulled them out of the pack, read a weird card description that had like 8 different mechanics on it. They were all like 2 sentences each, and been like, whoa, this is so cool, I can't wait to play this card. And then you make a deck and you get stomped immediately by a 9-year-old. But you're like, this is still really cool, and I love how the art looks, and all the words and stuff are cool, and I love when things happen.
And weirdly, even though Jeff was playing Magic, the kid beat him with a White Eyes Blue Dragon.
Blue Eyes Black.
I was gonna say,
I fucked it up.
I have
dang.
had that experience, Jeff, but it was Yu-Gi-Oh.
So basically that. Remember at the anime festival when I lost to that like 9-year-old boy
Yes,
playing Yu-Gi-Oh?
and you routinely stomped all of us, like all of us, and this 9-year-old just wiped the floor with you. It was quite funny.
So there's always gonna be. You don't have to be good, right? Like I'm not good at that game. Like, I've beaten the highest difficulty, but I don't think I'm like I don't know what I'm doing half the time. I don't make good choices. Like, you just give it a shot. Just play with the cards. Put them together. Make fun combos. It's
And
like,
there's
okay.
100% of the White Eyes Blue Dragons you don't take.
I did get served up a video today that said the history of the Yu-Gi-Oh metagame to like 1999 to 2000 whatever, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be interesting watch for me, and it's 40 minutes long, but I'm gonna do it, damn it.
Did you learn about link summoning and how that completely changed the game?
I
And made people
haven't.
really mad?
I haven't watched the video yet, but I am hoping. I just can't wait for Pot of Greed.
Which allows me to draw 3 additional cards. Or whatever the meme is. I played Pot of Greed. Why does he yell when he plays every card?
I don't know, man. But that's just a beautiful video. Okay.
Anyway.
But you enjoy Monster Train.
Monster Train's
immensely.
real good. Monster Train is, I feel like it basically came out of nowhere. and it is Slay the Spire, except it's got its own business going on. It's got like a positioning element to it. It's got a kind of flexible card upgrade system, which isn't so. Slay the Spire has like you've got your card in its base form, and then like you've got your upgraded version of your card. This game you can apply like or not unique upgrades, but you can apply from a pool of upgrades to all of your cards. It's got the cool artifact system that Slay the Spire has, pretty much stolen completely. But it's got this cool thing involving clans, which are kind of like magic colors, and you can mix and match, so like you've got a multicolored deck going at any given time. Lots of cool mechanics, and they've been supporting the game post-launch really well. Like they've added, for every clan they've added, so the clans have champions, which are like your ace cards, and you put them out at the beginning of the fight, and then you have them in the fight for the entire time, and you can upgrade them as you play the game. They've added a new champion for every clan, new starting cards for every clan. And then there was just a beta test for an upcoming DLC, which looks really cool. Adds an additional clan, adds new mechanics involving monster fusion, which is super
fusion.
Cool. Yeah.
So wait, have they been charging for any of these up till now? Because it sounds like they're doing a lot for something they've just been supporting without charging you again.
So everything up until now, they have not charged for it.
Wow.
This coming update is a DLC.
Okay.
But it looks definitely buy it. It looks fantastic. Cool. I didn't get the chance to play the beta, but the stuff I watched of it looks really, really cool. And it's just a super fun game. Like if there is a part of you that enjoys like playing deck building board games or buying Magic cards, just give it a shot. Don't worry about it. It's gonna be okay.
Try it. That's in all of us. We all have that.
Exactly. That's in all of us. And you're going to lose a bunch of times, and it's not a big deal. Griffin.
If you say so.
I think Griffin, I know that you're playing Hades, and you've almost beaten one run, and you've tried again. But like the idea, I think, of multiple times through the same thing, and it changes each time to you, is still like a little bit foreign. So like the idea of like grinding and losing over and over again and that being meaningful gameplay, I feel like is like a little bit like
I'm very upset because I just looked up I'm very upset because there is not a 13 Sentinels trading card game, but there is a $330 Natsuno Minami quarter scale figure with
shit.
BJ.
Oh, dear.
Yo, she's always in her bloomers.
Yeah. And she carries around a robot called BJ.
She does have a robot called BJ.
Yep.
And in Japanese, she's always like, a BJ.
Are you playing in Japanese?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay. English voice acting great, by the way.
I was going to ask, is it voiced all the way through?
Fully. And I would highly recommend, if you haven't already, switch it to English, because it just, I could not keep it.
I'm
track.
started out. Yeah. Just like I did with Yakuza Like a Dragon. I was like, I don't want to work too hard here.
Yeah.
Usually I don't, but I feel like for whatever reason, this game I don't feel too taxed by it. But usually I'm like, I give Japanese a chance and I'm like, ugh. This doesn't bother me too much. Also, Griff, didn't mean to mischaracterize you there, but I do feel like something about the roguelike formula does cause you some degree of distress.
I don't think it's that. I think it's that it's not my go-to genre. Like I love Dead Cells. I played the crap out of that. I think the thing is about me is I'm just not good at a lot of games. So when there's like when I don't get better, I'm like, okay, so this is just not for me, huh?
Here's the thing. I've watched people who are good at Monster Train and Slay the Spire, and I'm not good at those games. To be good at those games, you need to have like some kind of insane analytical mind.
But you are
don't
smart.
Have to be good, though.
And see, this is the difference.
Right. Yeah.
You're a smart person. I think that I look at like a set of cards and I'm like, this is a bright one. This one's bright and there's fire on it, so I'm going to use it a lot.
Yeah, it's shiny.
Yeah.
The hollow foil.
All the hollows.
But I am excited to try it out for sure.
I recommend it. It's got a really unique vibe, and I think it justifies its existence as a video game even more so than Slay the Spire, which I think does a really good job of justifying its existence, because not only are you building a deck, but you also are, like, as I said, positioning your cards in unique ways, and sort of like it's wave-based combat. So it's not just cards; it's also like strategy.
Gotcha.
So it's super cool.
Cool.
It's real fun.
Cool.
Highly recommend. It's definitely, again, I don't know where it sits in my top 3 or whatever, but it's top 5 for sure.
I have a big question for both of you. Mm-hmm. Is the illegal drug Genshin Impact on your lists?
Absolutely.
100%.
Really?
Yeah.
1,000%.
Where in your list is it?
My list is in the document. You can see my top 5 there, but it's number 2 for me, which I could also say I could make a case for it being number 1 as well, just because of the time and devotion I have given it and how I do really, really enjoy it. But I think we don't need to talk more about Genshin. I think we did it justice last time we spoke, but I love it. And that's only to be trounced by Final Fantasy VII Remake, the best game of 2020.
Geoff, is Animal Crossing on your list?
Animal Crossing is on my list. So I did not bother with a number ranking because I can't choose my favorite son, even though we all know it's one of them. But no, I can't choose my favorite game of the year, but I definitely think it charts. I fell off it, but I think it's just it can't be ignored that it like came at the perfect time. Mm-hmm. Animal Crossing is good, it's not. It is what it is, it's not necessarily transcending being Animal Crossing, but it's still a fun loop, and it was fun for like 4 months, that's a long time.
In my book, which I just got word yesterday, is being published by the APA this year.
Hell yeah.
I spent at least a page talking about Animal Crossing. So now the American Psychiatric Association is going to publish a book that has a page on Animal Crossing because I'm a maniac. Yeah.
So Jamie, going back to you on that, is that part of your list? I know you haven't. It's been compiled as we speak. It sounds like.
I think it's there for me. I did not go deep, and I did not play this game for months and months and months. I'm probably 40 hours into the game, and I got exactly what I needed out of it. I feel like when people talk about games like this, it's so odd to me how someone can say. They can pour like 130 hours in, and then they can say, but it didn't last. And it's like, what are you talking about? Are you insane? You play this game for 130 hours, and now you're complaining that you ran out of stuff to do. Like, I feel like it was so rich, and there was so much there, and there's even these choices which are on the face of them annoying. I think all lend themselves to a Zen-like experience, like pruning the bond. It's not Anno. It's pruning a bonsai tree. It's not SimCity.
For sure.
It's playing with your your rock garden, and I feel like that is it's wonderful. And when I think about playing it, I think it got boring after a while, but I just what a wonderful, like, wholesome, fun, rewarding experience that came right at the beginning of this thing when I was like in the shit in the emergency room. Seeing these patients, not knowing what the hell's going on. Like, this game was like exactly what I needed. And I think it was that for so many people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think you hit the nail on the head, Jamie. And I was thinking about that in regard to Genshin Impact as well. It's like these games that, it's not really a game as service, but let's call it that for the sake of this conversation. Like, games that endure beyond sort of the typical loop of like you play it for 20 hours or you play it for 30 hours and you beat it, right? Like, people will drop like 600 hours into Animal Crossing and be like, there's no endgame content. And you're like, dog. Like, maybe you don't need to play it for a year. Like, maybe, why are you holding it to that standard, right? Like, why is it that these games that have an enduring quality about them also generate the most complaints about not being enduring enough, right?
Yeah.
It's a weird paradox, right? And I think that's a little bit true of Genshin as well. Like, I think that's a game that was front-loaded with some really amazing experiences, and I think that we've gotten one additional really awesome experience since then, which was maybe over a little sooner than I hoped it would be, even though it was really fun. Mm-hmm. Speaking of Dragonspine, the new landmass they added.
Dragonspine? Oh, that sounds cool.
Dragonspine was actually legit super cool.
Oh, you like that one?
I mean, Oh, you didn't like it, Griff?
No,
You didn't like Dragon's Fight?
I think Dragon's Fight's terrible.
Really?
I
Is it just
thought you
'cause
were
of the
referring.
frost?
I just don't think it has a lot. I think it's a nice area to be in. I just don't think it has a lot of it. The story content and the what it added in is not something that really interested me. I think that the what was it? Is it 1.1, which was the one that
Chamber?
did the Jade Chamber? Yeah, that's one I thought was really good. And
Is
really
the J Chamber
robust.
where you go to masturbate to
Yeah.
waifus?
No, it's not the Jade Chamber. It's the Jade.
where you keep your anal beads?
There, oh no. There is a character in the Jade Chamber who's like just horning out over one of the gotcha girls. She is a lady, but she's thirsty AF. What was I gonna say? I mean, I guess I'm excited in that game when they add a new landmass because I think exploring the landmasses is really fun. I agree that the story was pretty weak there. I think that the game has had a few good story beats. Most of the story beats have been kind of like okay. There have been a few that have been really good. Like I think Zhongli's was a really good one. But I don't know. I didn't need the story to be good. You know, I think just the thrill of exploring the world is probably the best part of that game. And then it's got persistent elements that are like kind of fun and keep me coming back. I don't know if they're the best part of the game, and I think that people will complain. They'll be like, "Oh, there aren't enough events," or like, "There aren't enough reasons to come back." And it's like, you've already put 200 hours in this game. Like, what do you need?
Right. Yeah.
How much have you all
see
spent, if you don't mind my asking?
Total spend?
it's getting up there.
Griffin's is. Well, are you going to include the money you gave me? So that he could watch. It was an indecent proposal. He wanted to pay me so I would pull for him.
Felt so bad for Geoff just not having the good characters. You know, wanted to load him up for some spendings.
How much does that cost? If you want to spoil Geoff and you want to watch. How much did that cost you, Griff?
I think it was under 100, right?
How much you gave me? I
Yeah.
can't remember.
I think
Yeah, let's say it was like 80,
I think it may have been around 90. Yeah.
80 or 90. It was a lot.
So how much have you spent, Griff?
How much have I spent? Oh, Griffin. Okay.
Gosh, let me think. So I think I've said this before from the last time we talked about this, but I think it's somewhere around 200, under 200. I'd have to go back and look, but yeah. Again, I am out firmly of the camp that I'm not afraid to spend money in free-to-play games because I think that you're giving money to the developers of the product. So that's where I stand. Can it get dangerous? Absolutely. Is this thing unique to free-to-play? No. Where is it worse? In other games that are just the same, that's act like, you know, you've got what's that?
FIFA.
Yeah, every sports game. You've got things like you know, all your shooters have your cosmetic packs and crap like that. So it's all out there.
I don't even want to relitigate that. I think they do a lot of stuff great. Like they publish the likelihoods on the website, right? Like other places don't do that.
They have to tell you, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know that's a Chinese government thing, right? But still, they do that. That's better than Overwatch, you know. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean. But,
and you don't need it. I mean, all the spend is just, it really is optional. Like, I think I've dropped $60. I think that's my total spend.
Gotcha. Yeah. And I don't even have any problem with it. I mean, it sounds like it's a hella awesome, you know, game. If Nintendo charged me for extra characters in like OG Breath of the Wild, I would have spent $200 easily, like, you know, and I'd be happy to. So yeah, I don't feel that way. I'm just, I still can't bring myself to, and it's an irrational thing. It's like it's not, you know, I don't know. I hope one day I can, but I don't know what I said this before, but I think seeing all the different currencies and being confused by that immediately scared me. I feel like I understand why they do that. But I do think if they just had one currency, and I would have been like, okay, then I think I would have kept going. But maybe I got to get over that.
There needs to be a better tutorial too. That's too.
I agree.
I mean, yeah.
I do think the multiple currencies are like they are to encourage spend, right? Like I think that they all serve to encourage spend in different unique ways, and I think that some currencies you can't directly get through spend, some you can, but like they all are related to encouraging spend. Some of them encourage spend a lot more lightly than others, though, right? Like I think primos, which are like the main character pulling currency, are the ones that most, in my opinion, encourage spend. There are others to varying degrees, like money. I think is a limiting factor. Yeah. Would you say, Griff? I've never had problems with money, but it seems like you have quite a bit.
I was thinking back, I don't want to spend too much time on Genshin because I don't think it's worth the discussion since we did this already. But I think just part of my problem with having that limitation on my currencies was not having an effective plan with what I wanted to do. Changing
characters. MTashed videos.
I didn't, no. Changing characters multiple times. And then the thing that I fell prey to, just because of my need to have a clean inventory, is like I was refining things that I would never ever plan to use as weapons, which I didn't track any of the costs associated with that. So I'm just like slamming these weapons together that I'm like, it says 5 now and I'm never going to use this. Excellent. Now my inventory is clean. And I didn't realize that was a great way to waste.
And the thing is, the dragon you're chasing, right? Like, and I'm sure it's in poor taste to use addiction terminology about this, but I will because I'm an idiot. The thing you're chasing at the end game is like this one dungeon, which isn't like, it's not even clear like that's always even what you're chasing, right? Like sometimes you're just doing it for the sake of doing it when there's a spend or there's grinding involved, right? Like there is no content that I can't beat right now, save for a couple of end game dungeon levels that maybe I could if I tried really hard. But
it's immediately rewarding. Like even I only played for an hour, but I enjoyed the landscape. It was beautiful. I enjoyed the way the character controlled. I was intrigued by what I saw. So I'm sure that exploration is its own reward in that game, and much like you feel in an MMO, like you just want to figure out what's going on in the world. I don't think there needs to be a final raid, for most people. But
if you want to just explore the landmass again, I'm sure I've put like close to 100 hours into exploring the landmass. It's a big landmass, even around. As it stands right now. Mm-hmm. Like you can get a whole heck of a lot of game out of just exploring, and that it doesn't cost you any money to explore. It costs you money to do It doesn't cost you money. You need to grind to do story quests, which might connect to money, but I'm not sure how directly it does. You're gated. You're time gated at the very least to do story quests. Yeah, you can explore out the gate.
I was going to say that is kind of the one area that I am a little nervous about how that would shake out, because, like Geoff, you've mentioned like there's this kind of desire to go knock out your dailies, and maybe it's like you don't feel like it, but you got to go do your chores, much like you would in Animal Crossing, right? Like you're like, oh, it's another day, I got to collect my bugs or whatever.
Can't play Animal Crossing and Genshin at the same time.
It's not
possible.
I will also, just to make my point quick there, is I am worried that the adventure rank might be something that becomes dangerous over time. If somebody were to take like a couple months off, right? Would you at that point fall behind the curve enough, and then would there be enough ways to catch up without... I mean, you don't even have the option to spend money to do that, but would that be something that they look to maybe throw in as like a boost your level or something like that?
Are you guys both still playing every day?
Oh yeah,
I take a day off every once in a while.
I play every day because you get character pulls for playing every day.
Gotcha.
Or you get resources towards that. But like every once in a while, I won't do all of my quote unquote dailies because it's just like I don't feel like it.
Yeah.
But I always try to do the things that directly give you primo gems, which are like the most important currency. I was going to say I don't think it's going to be too bad, Griff, because right now the top rank is 60. And I'm 52 or I'm 51 and you're 50. Like,
yeah.
I don't think there's too much of a risk there. No. But who knows, I mean,
it's just something I've never seen before, so it makes me question what they would be doing in the future, and how the part that I do enjoy, besides just the adventuring and the wandering around, the story beats can be gated by your level. So.
I think some of them are like adventure rank 40. I think is as high as they've gotten. It's pretty high.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Time. Takes a few weeks to get there, but that's kind of okay, right? Like, I think it's good to have content to be aiming for as a new player, because there's a lot of stuff in this game. that
Yes.
we've experienced, but you, like someone like you, Jamie, has not.
And might not
Yeah.
be able to,
Yeah.
even if you wanted to.
That's the thing. I only pay attention to this game like on the periphery, and I'll see like an article headline that's like, this place is going away, and I'm thinking what? Okay, I guess but
There's not really any places going away. There's like events going away,
okay,
but they're never that momentous. There's a couple. I mean, there were a couple like world events that I think were kind of interesting to engage with in sort of a zeitgeisty way. There was the meteor one, and then there was the ice flower one or whatever.
Did Deadmau5 play a concert? In the game?
We did not get to watch the trailer for Tenet, unfortunately.
Do not know. I watched half that movie yesterday, and I called it good.
I thought you meant you called the movie good, but no, you completed. Your time
I
with
stopped
the movie.
watching it.
Yeah, it seems like a parody of a Chris
It's
Nolan.
fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Now I really want to see it.
Isn't there a character named narrator or narrative in it?
Protagonist?
Hero protagonist? Yeah.
Wow, big swing.
So, I think there's probably some more things on. I see you guys got some more stuff on your list here. I don't need to talk about Genshin anymore in this setting.
Oh yeah,
sound
I only got
ashamed.
one other thing to talk about, which Griff, you kind of were bringing up, and I'm not sure if it's my game of the year, but it's definitely my game of the something. Like it's up there, which is FF7 remake.
Yes.
Jamie, where does it fall for you? Where do you have it?
I mean, so I put my list here in order. So for me, it is 4 out of 5, and I absolutely love that game. I adored every minute of it. I think it dragged in some rare
Absolutely.
instances.
Agree.
When you're going through the tunnel and Aerith, you gotta move the hand thing, and but for the most
Yeah, but
part,
the music slapped in that section, so I didn't really
yes.
mind.
I mean, every little they nailed everything that they needed to make me feel like I was back there, and whether that's just a beautiful skybox or whether that's like a little moment that's like passed between two characters that literally couldn't have happened back in the day with the way the polygons were. I mean, it was pretty much everything I could have asked for, and I adored it, and I'm super excited for what happens next. And I will play it again when they release the PS5 60 frames per second version with a door texture that doesn't look like straight out of PS2.
No, it'll be FF7 remake recoded Chain of Memories.
Yeah.
1.2 final mix.
Oh, keep no more away from that thing, please.
You'll have to beat it twice, and then there'll be like one more cutscene.
Do you think Xehanort is actually the real villain?
Yes.
Do you know about Nording? Are you guys familiar
Yes,
with
yes.
the concept of Nording?
I think you explained it to me back in the day. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think just to kind of give a brief, retrospective about this game, because I think it's really special. It's maybe not my top game of the year, like I said, but it's a really good game. And I think I came into Remake with some measure of skepticism, and I don't know how much it was shared by you guys, but for me, it was, there was the skepticism of, okay, Square is a company that has been making games with incoherent stories. Like, how are they going to do this justice? That was part one. But part two was like, FF7's great already. Like, why does it need to be remade? Like, why can't they just, like, make the textures look nicer? I feel like, for me, this game did the thing I didn't think was possible, which is, it made me feel like, okay, yeah, this should have happened. Like, the fact that I left FF7 Remake thinking this was a good decision to remake this game is, I think, the thing that impressed me the most. Like, the level of... And again, this kind of comes back to, like, Square as a company that has kind of lost its way when it comes to storytelling in its marquee RPGs. Like, I expected incoherence, and there was maybe a measure of incoherence in the end. And I don't know, I think maybe of the three of us, I'm the one who's like the most trepidatious about that ending, maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think I am. But yeah, it's so beautiful, and it's so loving, and it's so surprisingly character driven for a company that I just thought only knew spectacle anymore. And like cool hairstyles. And that really stuck with me. Like, I was like, wow, like this is a game that isn't afraid to slow down, that isn't afraid to like to have faith in their characters and have faith in their story beats and like just simple human emotions. And that's really cool to see from a company that I had thought was really past its prime.
I thought it was weird how at the end, Aerith was actually Tonberry the entire time.
And then Cloud still
you mean
went on a date with her and kissed her.
Aerith was Tom Brady?
Tom Brady.
Tom Barrett.
Geoff, I agree with your sentiments completely on just kind of stepping into the game with as low of expectations as I possibly could. I would say even to one degree further in that I didn't think Final Fantasy VII was a good game. I think it was an incoherent, hot trash fire in terms of the story.
Yo, Jamie, this guy are sick. Am I right?
I'm gonna sick Tonberry on him later.
That's the reason why I have it as, in my opinion, the best game of this year, because it made me understand what people liked about Final Fantasy VII. And obviously it changed. Things changed, not just graphically and texturally and combat and all and story wise. But it made me really enjoy the world of Final Fantasy VII that I didn't give a shit about in the original. So just really bringing that to my eyes and saying like, oh wow, I get the people's love for this story now, and then chopping and screwing it slightly, and then adding in more of a human element and beefing up those characters that were just as paper thin as they come in the original. So I think it's a great blueprint for other companies to look at their properties and move forward. I would say that I hope they don't all take the same approach of like, haha, maybe I got you at the end.
I'm excited. I think that they needed to do something like that because, I feel like you're right, Griff. Like this game, you have to go beyond the source material. And I feel like the end of this game was like a very meta conversation about, is that okay?
Yep.
And I feel like their answer is, well, whether or not it's okay, we're doing it. So get ready. And
it's
I feel
our game.
like that makes me excited for what comes next.
I think it's tough, right? Because it represents possibility. So it's like, okay, we're deviating. Like we're taking the source material and we're some of the original creative talent is still attached, so it's still a vision that you can draw a through line through, right? But like it is a departure, and looking at the collection of Final Fantasy or whatever it's called, I can't remember. I think it's collection of Final Fantasy VII. Some of that material I don't really like, but to their credit, like I didn't realize this, but the guy Leslie or whatever, the guy who's like chilling in front of Don Corneo, who wasn't. He didn't blow me away, but I didn't mind him, and I thought some of his character beats were cool. Like, I like that he, spoilers for people who haven't played this yet, like, had a confrontation with Don Corneo. I enjoyed that.
Yep.
I thought that was a cool thing. That was from the collection of Final Fantasy VII. Like, that was from a novella called On the Way to a Smile. Like, that, there's all these different little things. I think it was On the Way to a Smile. Don't quote me on that. That might be something else. But anyway, that was from the collection of FF7. So, like, they managed to put in these little elements from like Crisis Core and other properties that I don't give a shit about. Griffin's giving a thumbs up because he doesn't know what he's talking about. He loves butt rock and
I changed my mind.
apples.
Best game of this year is Crisis Core.
Oh, get out of here. But it managed to include those elements in a way that didn't make me recoil and didn't make me feel like, oh, this is really sullying my remembering of this game. Like, I feel like something that really frustrated me about Crisis Core was just like their insistence upon retconning everything to sort of like be cute about it. Like the whole Loveless thing just grossed me out to no end. The characters' motivations made no sense.
No sense
at all. Like everyone at Shinra, I don't understand them. I don't understand Zack. I don't understand Angeal. Why does he have a wing? I don't know. Why does he turn into a monster? I don't know.
He ate my hair.
We don't need to go there. It's really dumb. But what they somehow managed to do is weave in elements and not make me want to kill myself. That's probably not good. But not make me want to hurt someone. And I think that gives me hope that they can continue to synthesize the source material with the expanded universe in ways that aren't ridiculous. But I'm also nervous because they, it's where we're talking about.
I'm not nervous.
Yeah.
If they can give us, if every installment going forward can give us a Jesse style, expansion on a character that ends up being so cool, and it also informs the universe while like giving life to this character who had none. I trust them. And if that trust is shattered, like I won't be super surprised, but the fact that they were able to put those pieces in place, I think that what we get next is going to be pretty cool. I can't wait until
the next character they're going to do that with is
Hojo,
13th dad.
I thought you were going to say I am nervous about it because now am I going to have to go play Dirge of Cerberus finally?
Absolutely not. If Dirge of Cerberus becomes required reading for FF7 remake, they've failed.
Yeah.
Well, in the next game when Vincent's the main character, I think it's probably going to work out that way.
Probably, yeah. It's weird that they're pivoting back to the same shooter gameplay.
When are we going to get the next one?
Never.
Like 2029, maybe? I don't know.
I mean, they said had it entered full production? I can't remember. Or was it just pre-production?
I feel
it
like
made some
we're going to
money,
get...
so hopefully they throw some resources at it and push it along a little faster.
Yeah.
8th best-selling game in the U.S. this year, which is great. I'm very happy about that.
They got to invest more in the Tonberry tech. Just get more Tonberries in there.
I'm also I really have to say I'm very impressed. But obviously, like it's a gorgeous game, and they chose, I think, their graphical sacrifice as well. I think the combat is really good.
Yeah,
and I think that again, like FF7 combat is iconic. The materia system and the way that it worked with ATB was really cool. And they changed it in a way that didn't make me mad. Like, there's all the, like, everything I have to say about that game is, like, it didn't make me mad. But, like, also, combat, like, kind of delighted me a lot of the time.
And
Absolutely. It was real good.
If you listen to people like Tim Rogers, apparently, if you turn it up to hard and you choose the thing where you don't use items, apparently that is, like, a thrilling experience that maybe one day I'll try. But I enjoyed playing it on normal, and yeah.
It was a nice difficulty on normal.
Agreed.
Some of those endgame fights were really good.
Yeah. Tonberry fucking wrecked me.
I
would let Rufus wreck me any day of the week.
Oh man, that jacket.
It's so good. I made him sweat.
So we can continue to talk about Final Fantasy VII Remake if we want, but I do want to call out Jamie, because you did post your list in there in order. And I only bring this up because I think this year for me is a year of noticeable, purposeful absences from games that I've not only not finished, but also chose not to play. So where the fuck is The Last of Us 2?
Oh, shit! Oh, no! Well, see, this is the problem, because
I
just forgot that.
Bad game, I told you.
It's probably just really bad.
Oh, no!
Good thing we skipped it, right, Griff?
I know, right?
Oh, no! Oh, no!
I thought it was weird when Joel was like, Ellie, we really are The Last of Us 2.
No, that's where it goes. That's my game of the year.
It takes the top having been forgot about.
Yep.
Amazing.
Hey, man. It's a long year. No, I still think about that game all the time. And
just
that's
not
how
when you're making your list.
Just not when I'm making my list. I think about moments in that game. And it does the thing that Hades does, where it's also minute to minute. It is an incredibly fun, finely tuned video game. And I think you guys will love it when you eventually play it. It's fun. It's like an amazing stealth experience.
I do love a stealth game.
And just I think that the story is just masterful, and I don't need to go into the reasons why, but it sticks. It like literally has like the best books I read and movies. It has a place in my mind, and I will always be thinking about other media in relation to it. And I didn't want a sequel. I didn't think it needed one. And I don't even think I don't know what this is. I don't think this is The Last of Us 2. I don't know why they did, I feel like the core of the story and the things that I remember are not things that have to do with Joel. And
oh, sure.
And
I should have called it The Next of Us.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it tells a wonderful story, and I don't think you need to play the first one to get a lot out of it. I do think that what they do with Joel is really wonderful, But I also think that, yeah, not that part. That wasn't wonderful. They didn't need to do that. But
they sure did.
They sure did. I'm not the kind of person, I mean, it was so odd to follow the online discourse about that, and people were angry. People claimed that what's the guy's name? The main studio head? Oh God.
Neil Druckmann?
People claimed that Neil Druckmann like forced his artists to watch people be mutilated so that they could make Joel. And it's, that's like a bizarre.
Phase 2, Griff?
That was Dead Space 2, yeah.
Oh no, did they really?
They did the art design team when creating the monsters for Dead Space 2 studied a lot of car crash photographs of corpses.
Oh my God!
And dismember
for an influence
technology. Dismember them.
Right. Yeah. And also the boners.
The whole eye gouging thing.
Yeah.
But I really cannot wait for the time when you guys play this game, and then we talk about it, and you're like, "This is a fun video game, capital V, capital G, with like guns and
when I
stealths."
achieve self-actualization, and also am vaccinated, maybe.
You are vaccinated. Well, you're half vaccinated.
I'm halfway there.
But yeah, thank you, Griffin, for reminding me.
Yeah, I think it looks like a fabulous game, right? Like I think. I don't know. Maybe Griff feels differently. I think like there's no denying the craft, right? And
sure, agree.
The measure of artistry, in a AAA game that is just unseen elsewhere, right?
There's
it's
more
just
story
a lot for me right now.
There's more story and more memories in Dina's little finger than in like any other, even character from Hades, even character from 13 Sentinels. Like it's just a beautiful story, and the broad strokes are not what make it good. What happens to Joel is not what makes it good. So it doesn't matter if you know what happens. It's not a spoiler. What the little details of Abby's story, the little details of Ellie's story, the characters that surround them, that's what makes it good. And then the fact that it's a kick-ass video game helps too. So I hope that eventually you guys play it, and I hope that you do like it. I think you will. I don't know if it'll blow your minds, but I think you guys will have fun.
There's a lot of movies that blew up Rotten Tomatoes that I haven't watched yet. That's my response to to Last of Us 2 being a must-play game, right? Like I know, but also like I can't.
Yeah.
And maybe I can eventually, but it's just not at the top of my list of things I want to expose myself to mentally right now.
Right. I need an Uncharted. I don't need a Last of Us.
Pretty much. Even though Uncharted is an inferior product.
I don't agree with that, but I get you what your point is.
I mean, I don't know. Uncharted 4 was a great game. Don't get me wrong. I love that game. It didn't quite achieve the heights, I think, of The Last of Us in terms of what it did, what it was going for.
Play it.
I would love to play some Uncharted, though.
Yeah.
I've killed 1,000 boys.
Is there anything else you guys have out here that you'd want to chat on? Otherwise, I've got some shit talking that I need to do about some games this year.
Go for it.
Please hit us with the shit talking.
Okay, so I'll start with this one. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2. In theory, fantastic, right? Love the intro. Love all the nods to the previous, to the originals. Great year for remakes.
If this is about the revert,
It's exactly about the revert.
No, the revert is good.
Revert is trash.
Have you ever, Griffin? Have you ever been doing?
Can't you turn it off?
Huh?
What?
First, can't you turn it off? Isn't there an option to just
turn
not
off revert?
It's not just revert. There's other things.
Okay.
But
sorry, I interrupted you. Both.
No, you're fine. You're fine. This game should have been for me, but because I so regularly play Tony Hawk 2, it wasn't like this nostalgia trip to be like, oh, I still got it. It's like, no, I practice this game every year. and then
These
for the people
scores are too high.
right?
I can't
for
get
the
20
people,
million points in school too. It's not fair.
It's not possible. They made good updates to the levels, but when it comes down to it, and I think it's kind of how some people, and maybe this, Geoff, your trepidation with Final Fantasy VII Remake was, where it's like, this is good as is. Why does it need this? I get that. That's kind of how I feel about Tony Hawk 1 too. But I also am like, hey, if they just made it more modern, that's great. What I don't like about it is the trick system gets really, really overcomplicated, in my opinion, with the revert, and then some of the other tools that they added in across the history of Tony Hawk. And it just, I played it and I was like, this is fun, but this is not my game. So that one is just such a bummer for me.
Can I offer a counterpoint to you, Griff?
What's up?
Get good.
Sick burn.
No, I agree. I did have a hard time like getting my mind around the controls, and I thought that I was just becoming a 30-something boomer, but maybe it's just too much. I don't know.
For me, it's too much.
Oh, also, I think my controller was in the process of breaking at the time, so I should probably try again.
Yeah.
I think my directional pad was going kaput, but I don't know why you don't like the revert. Don't you just want your combos to be longer and longer?
I don't need that in the bowls, man. I don't need it.
Jamie, isn't the best part of Tony Hawk when your combo is like 2,000 times 784, and then you get like 1,000,000 points in one go?
See, I had to watch videos to get there. But when I got there, I liked it. But I think initially I was in Griff's camp. But then I was just swayed by the points, and I needed those points.
You gotta get
and
the
so
points,
I invested the time.
Griff, imagine that getting like 1,000,000 points is like pulling a Ganyu.
Oh, buddy. Now you're speaking my language. I can get an extremely large amount of points without a revert. I've been doing it for years. I'll
see you on the leaderboards, Griff.
Oh yeah. Check out my memory card that I have behind my shoulder.
If the save battery is still working.
Oh shit. Uh-oh.
They have a the aftermarket ones would die. I don't know about the official ones.
Well, I haven't played it on the original PlayStation. Maybe I have. I forget. I usually play it on PlayStation 3.
Oh, okay. Fine then.
But yeah, those saves aren't going anywhere.
No.
But yeah, that thing, it just didn't land with me as much as I thought it was going to.
That's fair.
But maybe I just need to walk back to it. The only problem is I've got a billion other games that I still need to go play and finish up before I go back to something that kind of gave me a sour taste.
Yeah. I'm just excited to see skateboarding games that aren't like regarded universally as hot garbage. Like games that kind of admire the things that people like about that franchise. Even if maybe it wasn't exactly what you liked, Griff, which is kind of a bummer.
It's fine. It's just it didn't. It's something that should have been higher for me on a list, and the feeling the need to continue to even play it. It's just not there right now.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
What else do you want to rage against, Griff?
Okay, here's one, right? And hopefully you guys agree with me on this. But you know what game fucking sucks? Among Us. It is a bad game.
I've never tried it.
I haven't played it.
Okay.
AOC has.
Yeah. We instead of D&D virtually one night, we played Among Us for a couple hours, and it just part of it is it's not a game for me because I don't like lie to your friends type style games. That's not what it just makes me really uncomfortable, and I'm not good at it. The other piece of it is the I think that had we all been on the same level at the time of playing it, it would have been. That's. When I say, sorry, I gotta let my cat in. When I say at the same level, I mean like everybody, half the group knew exactly what to do and what the methodology is and the map layout, and the other half was like, I know that I know what the killer is about. That's about it. Or the traitor. So I forget what the term is, but yeah, it just did not land for me.
It's one of those games. I think you're right, Griff. It's a game that unfortunately it demands that everyone who plays it is the same level of skill, because if there's any difference in skill level, you will just never win. Like
sure.
That's it. That's the game, and I think it's a game that I think people who like game theory and game design really like, because it's like, oh, like if everyone knows what they're doing, some really interesting scenarios can play out. So I think that's why it's been so popular on streams, right? Like, get a room that's been playing together for a long time, and interesting dynamics will play out over the course of like 4 hours, right?
Or people who have no clue. I mean, I think that's the other side of it too.
Right? Yeah. But I think the moment that there's a differential in the people in the room, you have an incredibly unbalanced game. So it's a flaw for sure. But I think it's cool, you know. I think it's I like it better than Fall Guys. I'll say that much.
Fuck that game. Fall Guys is garbage.
If that's the game, if there's any game that I'm going to rage against, it's Fall Guys, because I know I gave it a college try and I did win a Fall Guy.
Nice.
I won a Fall Guy.
Nice.
But I just don't get it. It's not fun. It doesn't control well.
Nope.
The guys are modestly cute. The games are okay.
Oddly enough, the one game that I would rage on is actually the Crash Bandicoot 4, because I was oddly pumped for that game, and it's not bad, but there's something that's very unreadable about it in terms of just knowing exactly where you are in 3D space, and you fall off ledges way too much with a fixed camera, and just the way that they move you through the levels. They even give you the thing that you can have it project like a target on the ground above where your character is, and I'm still just falling off the level left and right, and it just isn't fun. It didn't grab me. I was ready to love it. I've loved playing Crash on the OG PS1, and I'm just sad that it didn't grab me.
I feel like more and more it's just like the only company that's cracked 3D platformers is Nintendo. Like, it's just, that's their purview, and no one else seems to be able to do it in a way that isn't just kind of.
Well, now I put a
not
Sobi
Astro Boy.
There. Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Okay.
Sobi.
Astro Boy is really good. Okay, I take that back.
And neither
Astro
you
Boy
guys
is extremely
played
good.
the VR one, which is like even above that in terms of like
I should
just
do
quality.
that.
Yeah.
I have that VR thing.
It's a good game, man. It's a good game.
You play all your games in VR now, right, Griff?
Oh no, I haven't touched that thing in a while.
You made.
When are they going to announce their plans for PS5 VR?
Never.
I don't know. Better start soon so you can get a distribution function going. So the other last one on my list here, and Geoff, we were kind of talking about it here beforehand. Well, I think there was not a lot of great games this year. I was really surprised how Doom Eternal didn't land for me.
Oh yeah. Oh, that hurt.
Yeah.
You guys both didn't like that, huh? And it's people like it. So tell me what was bad about it.
I've played Doom 2016 every year since its release, at least once through, and this is not that. This is some sort of weird. This is what happens when a dev plays their own game way too much, and they get way too good at their own game, and they take away the challenge gets lost on them, and they take away the thing that made it fun, which on the most basic level in this game is ammo. There's not enough ammo, so it just completely disrupts the flow of the level. The reason for that is because they want you to use these secondary skills to get ammo out of the enemies. They want you to kind of deploy
Use all
these
the
skills
weapons
on enemies, and then like, you know, get ammo and armor and health out of them. And that just isn't what made the first game good.
Gory kill them.
Yeah.
Pull their hearts out and stuff.
Or whatever other secondary function weapon thing that you do to recharge all your different meters. But I think, yeah, for me it's that too. It didn't land because it felt more combat puzzly than it did in the past. More puzzle over combat. So it's like when I hear people speak fondly of the Halo games and what Halo did for first person shooters and how it made, you know, these locations where you were presented with a challenge and there's multiple options that you could do to resolve that combat initiative. Like and that's what Doom 2016 did as well, I thought. Kind of large areas, lots of enemies, and then it was really on you to leverage whatever you wanted within the tool set that you enjoyed the most to move through those spaces. And in this, just like you said, Jamie, when you feel like there is only a right way to do stuff, it then becomes less compelling to I think continue playing it. I did finish it, I beat it, but I think
Nice.
I think on the last boss I like took the easy way out. That was like, "Dad, give me infinite ammo and I'm all full health all the time." Because I was just getting so frustrated with certain things, in some of the boss fights especially.
Beautiful game. Beautiful, runs wonderfully, fun to move around in, and then you're out of ammo in 2 seconds, and it's just such a letdown. Your layer is cool. You have this layer in space, and you collect all this random shit from Doom's history. That's cool, but
that was also one of the weirdest things for me is I love the ending of Doom 2016. And the whole traverse, like, you know, just how every level you went to was telling a story through what was going on in the Doom world. I didn't feel that in this game, in Eternal. And then I also felt like I walked in on something that I didn't know, like there was a gap that happened. I don't know if there was DLC or if there is some required reading elsewhere that I needed to make that, because it was like one of the
You
coolest...
didn't watch the companion movie?
Yeah, I didn't watch the Fortnite
You didn't
continuation.
watch the Kingsglaive?
No.
Kingsglaive?
Jesus.
Or the anime episodes where Prompto was fat?
I didn't. I think I may have watched Kingsglaive, but definitely not the anime for FF15.
Fat Prompto is my favorite thing.
That's awesome.
They should call him Plumpto.
Oh. I was just surprised on how that game didn't land for me, despite all the attention I gave it, and
That's too bad.
And its prior version. Yeah.
I'm gonna give one more spicy take, and I know we're pushing 2 hours, so we should probably wind down.
Sure. Yep.
And it's not even that spicy because, come on, everyone on the internet has done it. But hey, Cyberpunk was pretty meh.
Yeah, I was gonna
this
say that same thing. I think it's probably because I didn't play the Cyberpunk 1 through 276 before.
Yeah, you really a lot of
2076. I felt really disconnected.
Oh man.
Weirdly, Keanu Reeves is very compelling now.
Absolutely, best part of
Not
it.
that I expected him to be shitty, but like, he is cool. You know, I think I'd gotten to a point in that game where I was having a little more fun, and then it's so limited. Your ways of interacting with the world are so. It's such a small set of ways you can influence that world, and they don't really matter. And I don't feel like I'm playing an RPG. Like, I just don't.
Yeah.
And it's
I don't.
Like,
I love how the comparisons went, like the speculation, I should say, started, everyone's like, oh, this is The Witcher, but like the future. And then like stuff started coming out of the game and people are like, oh, this is like Deus Ex. And then the game came out and it's not anywhere near Deus Ex.
no.
And you're like, oh, it's
and your
like
whole perk system is like increase your damage against robots by 2%. And I'm like, this is the most boring perk system I've ever seen. None of them do anything. And the double jump is cool. Like, I love a double jump. I got the charge jump, actually. I like that. But, like, I felt like it was a game that kept promising to increase the ways I could meaningfully influence the world, either from, like, a physical perspective or a, like, world state perspective, and then never delivered. And I think it's clear that it was development hell. You know, it's clear that it was rushed out the door.
Yeah.
And had a lot of big ambitions and then scaled way back, you know, and the final product is okay, and I think it's, you know, when you take it on its merits, it's fine, but it's a real letdown, you know, and I think I was ready to be let down kind of out the gate. You know, here we are, but it's a bummer.
I think when the reviews started coming in, that's when I was really like, uh-oh.
But they're good reviews. Remember, it was over 90 for a while.
Yeah, but the ones that I've read that were getting the most shit were like, okay, so this person's probably not trying to have a hot take on this. They're genuine concerns about this game that has had multiple pushbacks. But yeah, the shift from, I think my problem with it, Geoff, is in the same way that you have no like lasting agency or lasting effect in the world, is it's like, okay, so then give me like a Skyrim style open world game where it's just like I'm checking off the quest lists and I'm getting the engagement through those fun and exciting quests and whatever. It's all about just beat to beat combat and that type and storytelling that comes alongside that, which is like in those those first couple story missions, I did enjoy them. But then as time has gone on, it's like I feel like I've got no personality. So in my kind of more open world than actually RPG game, I'm playing kind of myself, but I don't have the freedom to do it. Yeah,
nothing matters. You're either kind of a dick or kind of nice.
Yeah.
And you can only be kind of a dick for the first act.
Okay, interesting. And I just don't really feel any pull to go back to playing it since I stepped away at the second act.
I didn't get nearly as far as you guys got. I basically met Johnny Silverhand, and then I was like, too many of these characters are T-posing. I'm waiting until this game has a No Man's Sky moment. And I subconsciously, what I realized is I'm hoping for something that they just cannot deliver. Like I want the No Man's Sky 2.0 moment to be like, we completely redid the city, and now, there's more interactivity. That's not what we're going to get. We're going to get people who don't T-pose all the time. And that's going to be the 2.0 moment. And it'll be an okay game. I don't think it's really salvageable in terms of what I wanted it to be. You know what I mean?
The thing that Deus Ex does so well, which is why the fact that this is part of why I started to get really mad at Digital Foundry. Every time they called that game an immersive sim, I was like, shut up. No, it's not. Like, the thing that Deus Ex did so well is, like, you see a door to an apartment, you can go into that stupid apartment and either find a story beat or a piece of loot, right? Like, you see a door in Cyberpunk, you might as well just ignore it because 90% of them can't be opened. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, this is not a city. This is a big space that has the occasional room attached to it.
This is GTA 3.
Yeah.
Like, it just felt so hollow, and I don't know. It is very disappointing, and I agree with you, Jamie. Like, I want there to be, like, give me skill checks. There were a few skill checks, but not many. Give me more of those. Let them matter. Don't be afraid to let them matter. Like, clearly it was just an afterthought. And I find the leveling system somewhat incoherent anyway.
Yeah.
But also, I just want to say the pushback against it from like the enraged gamers perspective is also infuriating, and I've had enough of it.
Yeah.
If I have to watch another like "we're so sorry" video, I'm gonna scream.
Oh man.
Yeah.
All right.
Real disappointment.
We done. We did it.
We're done here.
Game of the year,
think
Last
so.
of Us 2. Everyone agrees. Crazy how that all
so
just
weird.
happened.
Man, if I didn't
It just
say
came out of
anything,
nowhere.
that'd have been interesting. Huh?
The game of the year is Mario Kart 8.
Always.
I mean, it's
That's
probably a top
forever.
seller, to be honest. If I look at the list, it's still doing great.
Oh man. I threw on mine just to make it 10. I threw on The Last Campfire, which I finished and actually really enjoyed and would recommend. I threw on Yakuza Like a Dragon, probably played 10 hours. And I played Desperados 3 and Iron Harvest, both of which I've probably played like 2 to 5 hours each. And they seem awesome. And I just had an impulse to make it 10 games.
Dragon Quest XI came out again this year, so it's on my list. It's a really good game.
Sure.
Tried playing it. I tried it.
It's really good.
All right, guys, cool. This has went on long enough. I think this is a good discussion, as always. And here's to 2021, looking up.
Yeah.
And some time to catch up on some old games.
There you go. Xenogears.
Game Boy
All right,
Advance.
guys. Talk to you later.
All right, see ya.
Bye.